out of town, sharing a dream with anyone. She's made it through heaven, she's made it through hell. It's just another story to tell. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen, filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights, making up a bar queen on the phone in the great big boulevard, the place she belongs. It's just another story she tells. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen, filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights. You always looked after me, brother, when we were children. You always had my back. You took all the blame when our father caught us doing things that drove him mad. Through the years I could lean on you when I messed up. I'd call you in the night, but I broke too many promises and we split up. Though I still need ya, you gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I got into this awful spot. I don't know where it ends, so I can use your helping hand tonight. I wanna say that I'm sorry, I got sidetracked and I left you in the cold. I've seen your side of the story, I felt the drawback. My mistake took its toll. Finally, I have realized I was dead wrong. I wasn't thinking straight. No more lies, and from here on out I'll be better, 'cause I still need ya. You gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro, lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday night edition of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over the world. This is episode 150. We are here. It is not only episode 150, but we are starting a new month. It is September 1st, 2022. And as I said, you are here for episode 150 on this Thursday night. Thank you guys so much for being here, those of you who are here live. If this is your first time here, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is BP. I know it's fancy with the graphics and all, but thanks guys so much for being here. I don't know what to say other than thank you. I say it all the time. I say it a million times. And we're just flying right along. I made a comment in the comment section as the show was scrolling through. It seems like we were just a few days ago at episode 100, and we are already here at 150, flying right along. Just celebrated 3 years of the podcast. And yeah. So tonight, with episode 150, I am going to be talking to a brother who actually I've been waiting to try and talk to for, seems like a long time, going back probably into last year. And I wanted to talk to this individual because he's got kind of a cool little story, but also because he's another one of our villains that's kind of an entrepreneur of sorts with his own beard company. Of course, I'm talking about the man from the bayou, Mr. Mudcat, Nick from BV Louisiana. We're going to be talking with him in just a little bit. He is, his stories, man, funny stuff. I was in tears during part of the interview, and yeah, it's been a long time since I laughed that hard, and unexpectedly so. So I hope you guys are going to really enjoy that interview as well. We got a few things that we're going to be talking about with regards to chapter merch. We've dropped off a bunch because several of the chapter merch things kind of expired, or we had been already mentioning them for 4 or 5 weeks. So usually I try to drop them off after that point. Give everybody a fair shake, so I'm not showing favoritism. Going to give a couple of chapter shout outs as well, as we always do. So I hope you guys will enjoy this time and this Thursday night kind of escape. If you're listening like some of our people are on a standard podcast platform, or if you're watching at work right now or whatever it is, hopefully this can be a fun little escape, as it is for many people weekly, to get your daily dose of, or weekly dose of, BV and goodness. I want to reach out and say hello to the handful of people, it's way more than a handful right now, it seems, who are here with us, hanging out in the comments section, watching us live. So, of course, I have to give a shout out to them. Mr. Frank and Beans is hanging out with us. Good to see you. Good to see you. Rababa is back. And it's already September 2nd where he is, because he's over across the pond. Can't wait to see you again and hang out with you in just a few months' time, Rob. Good to see you. Frank and Beans says he's getting his gear ready for next week. Yeah, I know what that's about, man. I know what that's about. He's talking about the little thing called Four Corners coming up next week. I'm assuming it's going to be a great time. One of these days, I got to get there for it. Just kind of the timing is not good this year. It always coincides with things. Derek, Mr. Parsons, how you doing? Good to see you here. Forge is hanging out with us here. I love it when the guys from my own chapter hang out with us as well. They don't get enough of me regularly. They're going to take some time and hang out on a Thursday night as well. Seth, good to see you here. Tim, how you doing? Reverend Nick, Mr. Harden, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Rob Fetters. He has a very long YouTube username. Need to shorten that up. He's got like 15 different things listed on there. Jake, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Mr. Mudcat is here. As I said, Nick is hanging out with us. We're going to be talking with him shortly about life in BV and whatnot in his beard care company as well. Mars, good to see you here. Jason is also with us here, as well as Mr. Joker S. Miles. Joker, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Buddy, can't wait to hang out with you up here in Northern Indiana at our event coming up next month. Look forward to that. See who else. I know we got at least one other person hanging out with us in here tonight. I saw some names. Tony Redbeard. He says, "What's up, brothers?" He's weird to be live. He normally listens while he's at work on the replays. Well, welcome tonight. It's nice to see you here and see you live. Always good to see you. Let's see who else we got in here. My co-cap Ed is hanging out with us as well. Oh, thank you guys so much for being here. And that's who I've got so far. I know there's a few people actually watching online that I'm not able to see because you're not in the comment section, so I do apologize. But thank you guys so much for being here. If you're listening on a standard podcast platform, after the fact, over at one of many podcast platforms or the heartofavillain.simplecast.com, thank you again for being here. You guys are the viewers, the listeners who have been here since episode 1, and I cannot thank you enough, even though I try. Well, guys, I just want to get into the handful of things that we've got here with chapter merch, get into a couple of the things that I've got listed for some news and notes from different chapters out there that I accumulated this week. And then we'll get into the really fun interview I had with Nick. So without further ado, let's get into our chapter merch. All right, chapter merch. So the first thing I've got up here on the base was first announced. I mentioned it last week. Now, pay close attention because this is BVWNC. That's right, WNC. They've got a patch, well, 2 patches, and a shirt available. And it's not you don't get in contact with them regarding this stuff in standard way. So if you're interested in either this BVWNC shirt for $20 to $25, their whiteout patch for $10, or their limited edition patch for $25, you got to contact our brothers one of 2 ways. One of 2 brothers anyway. Contact Chris or contact Jeff. Chris at fight_with_heart on IG, or Jeff at samhain_the_villain. That's for the WNC merch release stuff with a shirt and 2 different patches. So grab that stuff if you can. Next up, this is a new one. Seems like Lakeshore is always trying to better themselves and better other people. I love it when Mars sends me some stuff. Lakeshore is coming out with they're celebrating 2 years. I don't know the exact date of their 2-year anniversary, but it's right around now. They're coming out with their 2 years gear, their 2-year gear. So they've got a 2-year anniversary patch available for $16 Canadian or $12 US. And then they have a Lakeshore Villains 2-year shirt. Pretty cool stuff. As always with Lakeshore, they're trying to, like I say, they're trying to outdo themselves, it seems like, all the time. All this stuff's available at lakeshorevillains.com. Lakeshorevillains.com for the patch and the shirt celebrating 2 years. And then the last thing, I've only got 3 things tonight, guys, is from my chapter, Get out there and get this. A limited shirt. It's only going to be available. It's on pre-sale right now, but it's only going to be available this one time. No reprints later after the fact. So another week or two, it's going to be available to you, to the public. The Ezra Crowe World Tour T-shirts. Ezra Crowe World Tour T-shirt pre-sale. These shirts range from $25 to $27 plus shipping. Available at bvnorthernindiana.bigcartel.com. This has a really cool design put together by one of our brothers, or a couple of our brothers, actually. Well, three, I think, put together some input on this. And then the back of the shirt has all of the cities where representatives of the Northern Indiana have represented the chapter and Ezra at events over the course of the last year. The Ezra Crowe World Tour T-shirts. Again, at bvnorthernindiana.bigcartel.com. That's what I've got so far this week for merch. Check back next week for some more merch news. All right. Well, we've had a couple of chapters do some cool stuff this week, and I wanted to give a shout out to them. And we've got another chapter that just came out this week, I believe, with a new seal. We have a new chapter. So let's check out what we got going with chapter news. All right. I got to start saying something different than all right every time we take a break from music break. Well, let's give a quick shout out, shall we? BV New York Upstate. I want to give a shout out to them because they're trying to raise some money. And it looks like they're raising money for what's called the JDRF One Walk, the Great Escape 2022. I think this is Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund, maybe. So their team captain, of course, Mr. Joe Hawkins. But hit up the BV New York Upstate boys. If you're able to donate a little bit to the JDRF One Walk, just go direct to them. And they have a way that you can do. Any amount helps, obviously, towards their big grand scheme of things that they're raising money for with this walk. So hit up the New York Upstate boys to see if you can help out. Next up, Bearded Villains WNC making a return appearance here. This just came out, I think, right after last week's episode, so I wasn't able to include it, but they worked with the Forsyth Humane Society. Anytime we get a chance to work with our organizations and our companies and things that are in our community where we can actually get hands-on, boots on the ground type of thing, I love that, and really cool to see what they've done here. They took a bunch of time out to work with the Humane Society there in Forsyth, cleaning cages, putting together packages, helping them out with stocking shelves and all sorts of good stuff there at the Humane Society. So I'm sure that they were much appreciative of that. Congratulations, BVWNC, on taking some time out to help out the Humane Society there. And then the last thing I got is just a big congratulations to Costa Rica. Costa Rica, this thing flew across my pages last week. Welcome, Costa Rica. They can be found on Instagram at beardedvillains_Costa Rica. Congratulations and welcome aboard, boys. All right, well, we have reached that time where I want to get right into my interview because this was just a lot of fun. This is a brother who you normally, you may have seen him come across your airwaves on Instagram. He occasionally goes live talking with, talking about some of the beard care products, the new scents that he has, the new packaging or whatever it is that he has out there for the company. And of course, I'm talking about Mudcat whiskers. And it's so cool to see the growth that Nick has had. And so I wanted to get him on here to talk a little bit about his story, his journey as a member of BV and also Louisiana and life in Louisiana and whatnot. It's, the way he talks about his profession is awesome. So if you don't know Nick, this is going to be a kind of a fun little get to know Nick night. And maybe at the end, we've got a little surprise for you at the end of the interview that'll help you out if you're interested in maybe some beard care products, maybe. So if you can, take a few minutes, get your drinks, get your popcorn, whatever you need, and enjoy this interview I had with Nick from BV, Louisiana. Okay, this week I'm bringing somebody in who I've been waiting to talk to for a little bit. He's been kind of a sneaky hard guest to get a hold of due to his schedule with everything going on, and he's got other things in the world that are priorities other than just Instagram. It seems. I know it sounds weird, but hey, this week we're going to be talking with Nick from BV Louisiana. We're going to learn a little bit about him, his journey, and also a little beard company that he's got going on. So help me welcome to the show, Nick from BV Louisiana. How you doing, Nick?
Hey guys, I'm doing great.
Man,
Nice southern Louisiana, but the rain finally broke, so that's always nice.
yeah. When it rains down there, it seems like it causes some problems.
Yeah, I'm walking into a sauna. Like my beard's all nice and long now because I just zhuzhed it, but you'll fix it all nice and pretty, and then you go outside and the humidity hits it and it'll shrink like a good 2 inches. It's just a curly nightmare. But we do with what we can.
I've heard that. I haven't, specifically been down for long periods of time in Louisiana, but in the South and the Gulf region, I've been down there, and of course Florida and whatnot. And yeah,
Mhm.
it seems like the humidity does something a little different down there with the beard.
Yeah, I mean, it it's like it eats into your soul. There was one time I was visiting family in Ohio, and I got off the plane in Lafayette, and as soon as I opened the door was open, and you walk outside, it just hits you like a wave, and it's just unbearable. But the crawfish are good, so that's why everybody sticks around.
It's I'm maybe it's just because I didn't grow up down there, so I have yet to actually try crawfish, even though I've been around it a few times. When I was down in DSV 5, they had a
Oh,
huge,
huge bread.
yeah, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. Now I like shrimp, I like lobster, but I don't know if there's something about the tedious nature of you got to
Right.
crack this off, suck this thing, and I just
It seems like a lot of work for so little meat, right? But I mean, you start off with the potatoes and the sausage, and then you just casually eat while you're drinking, and before you know it, you ate 15 pounds of crawfish all by yourself.
you
But I
know
mean, always go like the catfish route. You don't necessarily have to go. We have so good food down here. If you leave this state hungry, then I don't know what to tell you. You just
Yeah, I've heard that. I know the Cajun cuisine is huge, and I've had some of that, but just not the crawfish. I'm lazy I'm a lazy eater though. I don't like crab legs because it's too much work. I don't,
right now
so
crab. I mean, because you got to split it, and that makes a mess.
yeah, but
But like etouffee and put that over rice. They're already peeled for you and boiled, and you just you know get a spoon, get after it.
yeah, crawfish is just still that's how lazy I am. I think if the meat's already there on the plate for me, I'm good.
You don't want to put in the extra effort. No, I get it.
I am. So let's just kind of start out this is a get to know you session here. People that maybe aren't aware of who you are, and I know people probably see on Instagram occasionally you go live with your beard care stuff, but we'll get into that part of of life here in just a few minutes. But give us kind of the lowdown on your BV journey. How did you find Bearded Villains, and what was it about Bearded Villains that kind of struck your interest?
Well, it's funny because like as guys, we don't get a lot of time to have that camaraderie, and it's like if you're not at a gym or part of a church or something, it's hard to find like a good social group. So actually, Morgan and Ben from BVLA, Morgan's the president, and they found me at a beard competition that I was doing at a local festival. I had a booth set up for the Steampunk Festival here in Lafayette, and they approached me and we started talking after the festival was over, and they had mentioned BV, and I was really interested, especially with all. I know it's not like a charity organization, but our chapter does charity work and things like that. And since I was there with my beard comp raising money for the Autism Society, I thought that it was a really good fit. And I started in 2017, and it's just been a great journey. I've met so many awesome guys um, that I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
Yeah, it's very cool to see that they found you. They sought you out, because it seems like more often than not,
Well,
the guys are seeking BV. They come across BV and they reach out.
well, it was one of those things where I kind of got thrown into this beard competition because the other company that was supposed to host it dropped out or whatever. So Morgan and Ben were there, and then they saw this glorious mane. No, uh, so they came and we just hit it off and chatting, and it was great.
So what you said since 2017? What's it been like for you, man? What's been some of your most memorable moments within BV and being attached? I know that Louisiana is a very, very family friendly, very, very tightly knit chapter. So what's that been
Well,
like for you?
I really enjoy doing service work with my brothers. Like when the hurricanes hit, we had a lot of brothers that were really impacted um, by the storms. And we as a chapter got together and we purchased equipment and we scheduled visits to the brothers' houses that were most impacted. And we were doing things like tarping roofs, we were cutting down trees, we were hauling debris. We were there for them emotionally because, I mean, their whole life is turned upside down. So we wanted to make sure that we stepped up as a brotherhood to help, our fellow BV um, brothers. And I mean, it's just amazing all the things that we do for each other, not only as a chapter but as a club in general. Um, we have so many good connections with people from all different kinds of walks of life. We have teachers, we have architects. I mean, we have you name it. You know, if they can grow a beard, they come from all walks of life, and it's just awesome that we can connect through our beards and get to know each other in a more social way.
I like that. One of the things I've noticed, and like I said, I've never actually lived in Louisiana, but just talking to Morgan and the conversations I've had with Morgan and a few other guys that have lived down there, the kind of the BV mantra about family and about charity, that whole mindset is
Very
that's
much.
kind that's kind of ingrained into the life of the people that live in Louisiana, though, isn't it?
Right. That's what we do normally. We look out for each other. We don't, you know, we just, like you said, we're one big family, and what's mine is yours, and we just share everything. It's just great. I mean, that's the other reason why people put up with the humidity and all that stuff. That old Southern charm.
That has to be a reason. Well, I know.
Yeah.
Have you always lived down there?
No, I moved down when I was 3, actually, with my family. But I was raised in New Iberia, and now I live in Lafayette. But I've been down here pretty much all my life, you know. But I got family in Ohio. I have family in Kentucky. Um, but
Okay, so this may sound like a strange question then. Um, how come you don't sound so south like so many of the other guys that live in Louisiana sound really south?
well, because I'm a school teacher, and I can't I can't stand up in front of class and be like, "May, you take that thing and you carry the 1 and you drop the 3 and then you multiply the thing." I mean, I can talk flat if you want, yeah, but I mean, I have to sound civilized when I'm communicating with people outside of the area so that they can understand us. I mean, I want to put my best business face forward.
Oh my gosh, I didn't expect to laugh that much at that one, but yeah. I mean, now, no offense to the guys that he just said he has to sound civilized. Just
Well,
if you don't sound like that, no offense to those guys, of course. But yeah, there's an expectation as a teacher.
right. I mean, well, you have to convey things and you have to be that role model that, they need. But also, there's many hats that we have to wear. So you have to be relatable as well. Um, so I mean, there's many different facets to people in Southern Louisiana. We're not all just riding alligators and, throwing out crawfish nets. We have a lot of diversity going on.
I, I didn't mean to make it sound like that,
No,
of course, but it's I mean,
A
yeah,
lot of
it's
times, oh, you don't sound like Bobby Boucher. Mama said the alligator's so angry because he ain't got no toothbrush. That.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah. The other guys that I've met from the chapter down there, it's very they're when they speak, it's just like, okay, yeah, you're from the South. You're from the South. But if I didn't know you were from Louisiana, I'd have thought you're from Ohio.
Right.
So yeah, or Indiana or wherever else. But yeah, it's something centralized in the States. But we'll chalk that up for being a teacher.
Yeah, let's call it that.
So what do you teach?
Well, it's funny because I started teaching in 2005, and at the time I was teaching sixth grade, but we were in charge of teaching all the subjects. Well, in the course of like progression or whatever, we departmentalized, which means now all the teachers teach individual subjects. So I had to go back and take the test for math, science, social studies, reading. So technically, I'm qualified to teach every subject. And this year, I'm actually teaching eighth grade Louisiana history, eighth grade science, and sixth grade PE. So it runs the gambit. Like every year, I end up teaching something different, but it's all at the same school. So it
Okay.
keeps. Yeah, it's a lot on my plate. That's why I'm like running
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, no, I don't want that job. Uh, I had enough trouble in school as a kid. I mean, I could teach some things that would interest me, but so if math doesn't interest you at all, you may still have to teach it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like if I think if they put me teaching ELA, which is English language arts, I would just flat out quit. I mean, just reading the kids' handwriting and stuff like that would give me a headache. Like, you know, because I'm so critical, when it comes to that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, well, this grammar is wrong, and you put the comma in the wrong spot. So I much rather something more like science, where we could have conversation, or Louisiana history, where I could tell them about, Zydeco music and the different cultures that were here before us. And Louisiana truly is a melting pot where we have all kinds of different people, and we all come together. We all sit at the same table and eat all the same food, and it's just a great place to be.
So this is what you said, eighth grade?
Yeah, this year it's eighth grade Louisiana history, eighth grade science, which is like earth science, and then I'm also teaching 2 courses of sixth grade PE.
Wow. Long gone are the days apparently of, you just had somebody is a seventh grade teacher or an eighth grade teacher and,
Yeah.
they teach one subject and they teach that subject all day long. Or is that just specific to your school or your school district?
No, like a lot of schools around here, even I think starting at like third grade, the third graders will split between 2 teachers. You'll have one that does like ELA and math, and the other one that does science and reading or something like that. But they start switching really early. In my opinion, a little bit too early because they're not necessarily mature enough to handle that. Navigating between 2 different personalities with teachers.
I mean, that's definitely something to consider. I can see that being an issue for some kids, especially.
Yeah, because in high school, you kind of, a little bit more mature and you can keep track of multiple things. But if you have an assignment from this teacher, an assignment from that teacher, and you're a third grader, the parent communication really has to be there. Because you can't rely on a 6-year-old to be like, okay, I have all this stuff to do, and be able to relay that to their parents.
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. 100%. But that's also that break between the elementary, junior high level is where you start to notice a big difference in the way that kids learn. Really,
Yeah,
that I've seen anyway, and that to the point where some teachers' direction, the way that some teachers teach, doesn't go very well with the way certain kids learn, and
right.
that's got
That's
to be a juggling act for you guys as teachers too.
Well, because I mean, the thing is, at different age levels, like you said, they learn differently. At a younger age, it's more like concrete, where if you're trying to show them something, where you're teaching, like say 2 plus 3 or whatever, you'll actually give them blocks, and they're moving the blocks around to come up with that answer. Whereas opposed to high school, you can do more abstract, where it's like based upon what you've experienced already. How do what are your thoughts on this subject? And then you can kind of extrapolate from there. But at elementary, you do have to like do a lot more hands-on kind of stuff. And I mean, high schoolers enjoy hands-on too. You know, it's a break from just worksheets or textbook or computer work. You know, they enjoy labs just like everybody else.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. Couldn't do it. Yeah,
It
yeah.
does take special personality. You know, I mean, you have to be patient. You have to understand where the kids are coming from, because everybody's coming from a different background. You know, you have kids with like who are staying with both mom and dad. You have kids that are just staying with mom or just staying with dad, or their grandparents are raising them, or they're homeless, or you know, they're struggling to find dinner, and you know, things like that. So everybody's coming from a different walk of life, but you have to kind of reach them where they are and bring them to where they need to be. You know, so
That's
it's a lot. It's a lot more than just lesson planning and here's a worksheet and you know, do your schoolwork. You know, reading, writing, arithmetic. It's a little bit more involved than that.
oh yeah,
But
completely. Nowadays, especially, I mean, with all the different factors you have to take into account, I was I love the art, and I do. I think it's an art. Good teachers, there's an art form to the way that they do what they have to do, because they have to be constantly thinking, okay, they have to recognize when somebody's not getting something, and then
right.
they have to kind of think outside the box themselves to realize, okay, how else can I push this so that maybe they will understand? I love that part of teaching. What
Hmm.
I don't like, what you have to do, is I don't like being told this is what you have to teach as a subject. I could never, hell, I don't, I'm barely good enough to do basic arithmetic and maybe some fifth grade or sixth grade algebra. So trying to tell
Right.
me I have to teach algebra, I have to teach math. No,
Yeah.
no. And I
I
would have
think.
been that teacher. I would have been that teacher years ago. Remember, and I want to say it was was it the 90s or the early 2000s when they like completely changed math. They were like, "Oh, it's the new math."
Oh
Well,
yeah, the common core thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, I would have been a teacher going, "No, this is stupid.
A
I
lot of
will not teach this. This is dumb."
Yeah, a lot of teachers did, and they went out to the state capitol, and the politicians didn't want to hear what we had to say about it. They actually asked us before. A lot of them talked. I didn't go because, of course, I can't take a day off work because I'm a workaholic. But some people that did take a day before they were allowed to speak to their representative, they were asked whether they took a sick day or a personal day to be there. Now, mind you, they had this meeting at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. So it kind of, you know, during the school day. So if the teachers wanted their voices heard, they would have had to take a personal day to go to the Capitol to, you know, express their opinion, basically. But I think the more that we go through with it, with the whole Common Core thing, um, it's a different way of thinking about math instead of just rote memorization. The whole point behind it is to get them thinking about the relationship between the numbers. And I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to like non-teacher folk, but
I get it, but it's dumb.
right, it's
I
like
don't mess with my math. I don't mess with my math.
right,
And then you have parents that are trying to help their kids with homework, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you? No, this is dumb. Don't do this. Do this. This is so much easier. You're doing 18 different steps to get to the same
right.
answer I just got 2 and 3.
Well, and then it feeds back into the problem of they're trying to get kids to do so much more at a younger age than they're capable of. You know, it goes back to even changing classes. There's only so much that a 6-year-old can handle. And when you're trying to lay the groundwork for algebra at that level, I mean, of that age group, it's a hard thing to do because it can't think abstractly, you know. Um, so they do things like, okay, so question mark plus 4 equals 12 or whatever, you know, and the question mark eventually would become an X and then introduce variables and things like that. So they're trying to put way too much on, in my opinion, on the kids at way too young of an age, especially when kids nowadays are dealing with so much extra stuff in their life, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different world. It's a different world than it was when I was growing up in the 70s, early 80s, for sure. You know,
Yes. long long past are the days where you know just hung out outside of your house until the street lights come on, and then then you come home, right?
I feel bad for the kids today that they don't. I mean, they don't know what they don't know. So I
Yeah,
get that, but that was your childhood. I mean, growing up,
right.
we had,
I
you
mean,
know,
we have so much more freedom than kids do now, and it's funny how that's kind of gone by the wayside, but it's been replaced with like safety. And I mean, now come to think of it, you might not necessarily want your 8-year-old out at 9 o'clock at the night, 9 o'clock at night running the roads and stuff nowadays, especially. But it makes me think, were times really that much safer back then? Where our parents were working 3 jobs or whatever, and it was like, all right, kid, go play. I'll see you at dinner time. You
yeah.
know?
I've always said though, the one thing that the thing that to me sticks out, the biggest difference between now and then, is that it was kind of expected, and maybe I don't know if it's a geographical thing or not, but I don't think time wise it was I think everybody kind of did it back then, and maybe some areas of the country have kind of held on to it nowadays, like the really tight knit communities. But those were the days where it was kind of okay that you'd run down the street and it'd be 20 houses down and you'd be hanging out there till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, because you'd pass all your neighbors on the way home,
Well,
and they would watch out for you. And if you screwed up, they would tell
yeah,
your parents, and your parent wasn't the first one to go, why are you talking to my kid? Or why are you yelling at my kid? It was, thank you. Mr. Johnson caught you doing this down the street. What are you doing? You
yeah.
know,
Well, I think a lot has to do with we don't know our neighbors anymore.
100%.
And so without that familiarity, like it's hard to establish that we had. And back in the 80s, um, you know, I don't want to say it was more tight knit community, but you tended, like you said, you tended to know the people who lived on your block. Like I'm fortunate because my neighborhood's literally like one circle, and we have a map with everybody's name on it. So we kind of know our neighbors, and we're kind of secluded. Um, but you don't get that everywhere, especially with the larger subdivisions and things like that.
All right. Well, so you are a Southern man who doesn't sound Southern, living in Louisiana, doing your thing. Um,
I'm a
well, so let me ask you this real quick, and then we'll jump into your personal side of things with the business that you got going. What has been so far your favorite thing that you have encountered or been a part of within your BV journey?
Well, for me, it's all of the meets. We chat online and things like that, but it's just getting to hang out with the brothers, and uh, getting to like look at their face and learn about what they've been doing, and just talking with them and socializing. Um, like I said, I work a lot, so I don't get a lot of camaraderie outside of BV. So it's kind of like uh, my happy place, if you will, um, because like I said, they have so many awesome guys, and they're doing so many different things, and it's wonderful to experience what they're doing and being able to share what I'm doing with them.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so let's slide into the personal side of things, because outside of being an amazing teacher who teaches subjects that no thank you, I don't want to be a part of, you got a side gig that you do. You spend your evenings on and all your other free time on.
Yeah.
So tell
Uh,
us a little bit about that.
well, I've been running Mudcat Whiskers since like 2015, and it pretty much comes from like at the time when I started it, there wasn't a lot available locally where you can go to the shelf and pick up the product and smell it and experience it. At that point, it was still a lot online. They didn't really even have much in Walmart. So I wanted to get a connection with local retailers, set up displays so people can actually touch and feel and smell my product. And that's kind of been my mindset for my whole journey. I mean, yeah, I sell online and things like that, but I also love doing fairs and festivals where you get to like talk and chit chat with people. And, it's just a great experience.
Well, let me ask you this then, without giving away like industry secrets or anything like that, of course. But how do you decide? I mean, you make the decision. I want to start a beard care company, do some stuff for beard care. How do you educate yourself on how to actually make the stuff?
How to
Because
formulate. Yeah.
yeah, I had the idea that I think that's one of the first things people do when they get involved with like bearded villains or something. They jump in and then they're like, "Oh, I love my beard," and you see all these guys out there with their own little twist on things. And you're like, I can do that, and then you start to like think about it, and you're like, oh hell, I'm terrible at this. I can't make sense. I can't figure out how to do this. I no way I can't do that. So how does
How
that
to say?
transition happen?
Well, back in college, I used to work at a steakhouse, and we would do I mean, it was like a high fancy steakhouse, right? And every Saturday we would do wine tastings and things like that to pair it with the food. And
Ponderosa.
yeah, at Cracker Barrel, we would just you know taste Bordeaux. But so I kind of wanted to bring that aspect to the craft of making sense, where I have a library of like 200 different essential oils or fragrance oils, and I had to do a lot of research on like, well, what makes a good scent? Because you can't. I mean, yeah, you could just take a bunch of junk and throw it together and cross your fingers for the best. But I mean, that gets expensive after a while, especially when you're paying $60 for a couple ounces of fragrance. Um, but I did a lot of research with like base notes, top notes, middle notes, and things like that, and actually looked at formulas to see what makes a good fragrance, and a lot of it's trial and error. What I like, you might not like, and so that's why I have 20 different scents. It kind of runs the gambit. But most of my stuff is like nice and earthy, deep, um, you know, earthy kind of scents.
You said something off air before we started recording about the interview. And we were talking a little bit about your company and the way that you make your scents and or your products, and kind of where your target audience is. And I loved your description of how you describe that. Can you kind of
Oh,
let everybody know about that?
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people think that, you know, they they don't really consider working men who just they have a beard, they want to take care of their beard, but they don't want to spend all day in front of the mirror like primping it and zhuzhing it and that kind of thing. They have stuff to do. So a lot of my guys will either pick up an oil or pick up a butter, and they don't get the whole like combo. But I tend to gear my products not to like collectors, but actually working guys who have stuff to do. You know, um, but a lot of it's like country kind of themed. Like if you notice, it's the earth tones and things like that. And I really like the feel of it, not necessarily the product, but the brand in general. There's a reason why I went with catfish instead of crawfish, because I wanted it not just to be limited to Louisiana, but it could also expand to folks living in Kentucky, folks living in Tennessee. It isn't necessarily branded to like corporate establishment as much as it's the family man who's working, hard at what he does and comes home and takes care of the kids and, raises his family and that kind of thing. I mean, that's in my mind, that's who my ideal customer is.
Yeah, one of the things you said that cracked me up earlier. Yeah, it's not necessarily for the guy that's going to spend an hour in front of the mirror in the morning.
Right. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have time for that. I got stuff to do, you know.
Well, I'm in a unique
Yeah, I know.
situation. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm Mr. Mom, so honestly, I probably do have that hour if I wanted to spend
Right.
that time in front of the mirror. But
But
I'm not. I try not to be that vain anymore. That I worry about that. So
there's on the flip side, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, do what makes you happy. If that level of self-care is what you need to feel good about yourself, then by all means do it. I mean, I'm not knocking the guys who are like, trying to feel good about themselves. I mean, Jesus. But in the same breath, like I'm perpetually running late for work. You know, I might hit it with a round brush and a hair dryer, and this is coming from a maker. You know, put some oil or balm in, you know, out the door kind of thing. But
Well, there's a
yeah,
reason why some of us look like we do and others look like they belong on the pages of GQ.
right.
So those are the guys that hey, more power to them. I'm never going to be that.
Yeah,
So
I've settled for my walk in life a long time ago. You know, it took me like 40 something years to get this way, and I can't see changing now. You know, it's pretty much like I am what I am. You know, it took me this long to get there. You know, I can learn a few new tricks, but I'm not going to change my whole way of life just because. But
yeah, I like that. I like that. One of the things that I've noticed, and like I said, this is coming from a guy, I've never actually had my hands on your product to actually feel it or smell it or anything like that. But the packaging a lot of times is a big deal, especially that first glimpse when you're trying to decide, do I want to try this product or this product? A lot of times, above and beyond the word of mouth part of it, the packaging is sometimes what gets people's attention. Does it look like a quality product? Does it look like something that somebody just cobbled together in a garage? And
right,
your stuff has, for the longest time that I've seen it, it's always looked like it belongs on a store shelf somewhere. So
yeah,
I think that's a really cool feature.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's kind of been my whole goal for the run of it. You know, I wanted to get into like a retail space, not just for like the financial aspect or whatever, but like I said, so it's hard to buy a fragrance or a cosmetic online because you don't have any idea. I mean, you could look at the jar and be like, "Oh, that's a pretty jar," you know, but until you have a tester and you could actually run your fingers through it, then you really experience it. And so I wanted something that would look kind of classic. Like there's a lot of people who change their labels all the time, right? But my thing is, I want to try. Like it's so hard to build a brand in general, whether it be clothing brand, you know, whatever. Um, so I wanted it to kind of be consistent in the way that it looks and the color scheme and that kind of thing, and like the feel of it. So that's why I went with like the colors that I did because they're earth tones. A lot of my scents are deep, earthy type. I do have some cologne scents, but um, you know, I just like the feel of it, really.
Yeah. Once you create a brand, you want to stick with that brand imaging just because that's what people identify you as then. So they
Well,
know what they're getting.
well, my thing is you can either be trendy or you can be classic. And it's hard to walk the line in between both, and I'm trying to be more like classic. Like this is the kind of stuff that my grandpa would wear, this is the kind of stuff that my dad would wear, this is the kind of stuff that I want to give to my son, you know, that kind of thing. That's where my thinking comes into play, uh, as far as the brand goes, you know.
Wow. I may need to splice that little one-liner out of there and just use that as a little soundbite here for the show. You can either be trendy or you can be classic. I love that. That's great. That's really well said. Well, man, I'm excited I'm going to get my hands on some of your stuff here soon. And man, I'm excited to finally try it. I was so happy to finally get some time with you. What is your most popular, do you have a most popular scent right now?
Yeah, currently it's a toss up between Boudreaux and Bayou Black. The Bayou Black is like a black amber lavender. This is the
Okay.
con- um, I'm sitting at my packing table, so I have all kinds of stuff around. I have like the bar soaps. Um, you know, I'm trying to get into like shaving and stuff like that for the guys who shave. I would like them to experience it too, but I'm still kind of working on that. So I have like the straight razors because I mean we have to clean up our lines too. So you know, but we right. I mean mine will grow up to my eyeballs if I let it.
Yeah, I'm there. All
But
right.
yeah, I have pretty much everything. Carbon fiber combs. You know, it like if you enjoy Mudcat, I wanted to be sure that I could provide everything that you need. You know, whether it be shampoos, conditioners, bar soap, body wash, razors, uh, combs, um, hell, even bottle openers.
All right. Heck yeah, man. Well, tell everybody what's the site where everybody can go if they're interested in grabbing some of your stuff.
They can go to mudcatwhiskers.com, and everything's available there. Um, you know, I have it listed by scent profile, and then that way, if you like, say, Pulpo's Pipe, which is my cherry tobacco, you can click on Pulpo's Pipe and it drops down, and you can get like the oil, the balm, or you can get like the combo with everything. So it makes shopping a little bit easier than having to go to this part, get the oil, go to that part, get the balm, go to this other part to get the butter. It's kind of like right there on the main page.
See, he's a teacher, so he streamlines everything and makes it easy. I like that. He's a thinker.
I overthink everything. Like, I really do. And I mean, I don't know, to my detriment, really, because it takes me so long to like come up with things that I'm happy with. But it's just what we do.
Yeah, it's what you got to do. Well, Nick, I so appreciate you taking some time out and telling us a little bit about your story and about, your brand. And I hope that everybody will take an opportunity to try you out. And, for no matter if you're the guy that hangs out in front of the mirror for an hour or not, just want to throw something in and get to work and get business done, like so many of our guys are.
Yeah, if you want to hang out for an hour, I got you covered. I got everything you need. But I mean, if you just want a quick, how you do, then I got that too.
How you do? All right, Nick, thanks so much, man. I look forward to talking to you in the future, and thanks for hanging out with us a little bit tonight.
Yes, sir. It was fun. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, what a fun conversation that was with Nick. Thank you so much, Nick, for hanging out with me for a bit and learning us a thing or two, right? Learning us a thing or two. As I mentioned in the comments section toward the tail end of that interview, but those of you who are just listening don't know this. So I'm going to share it with you now. Get your pens out right now and write this down. If you go to mudcatwhiskers.com, mudcatwhiskers.com, and if you use the code that he has provided for us for loyal viewers of the show, use the code Heart of a Villain, all lowercase, Heart of a Villain, you get 30% off of your entire order. 30%. 30%. How generous is that of Nick to offer that? 30% off of your full order at mudcatwhiskers.com using the code Heart of a Villain, all lowercase. Man, I can't wait to get my hands on some of that stuff. So stay tuned, because in the future, I think we're going to be doing an additional commercial for the show here. I think we're going to be putting something together for Mr. Mudcat himself to go along with what we also already do for another organization, which you're just going to hear about in just a few seconds here. But I do want to say thank you again to Nick. It was good talking with you, and I'll never get tired of talking to a teacher about the wheres and whys and the ills of the world in the teaching world that I can't completely comprehend the things that teachers today go through, but it is such a strange world. If you have kids and you've had to do that struggle where kids come home and there's some newfangled way of learning, and us parents that it's completely new to us, we just revert back to our old ways that just make so much more sense to us. So I don't envy the struggles of a teacher today in many, many different ways. So again, go over to mudcatwhiskers.com, get that 30% off. He's got a whole slew of different scent profiles out there. So check that out. Next up, we're going to be doing our calendar of events. So get your pencils, crayons, whatever it is you write with out, and we're going to get to that in short order. But first, we have this. If you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo beard products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash,
beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to Pulpo Beard Oils, that's Pulpo, beardoils.com, and use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order.
Okay. Feels a little weird after we just got done talking about one other beard company and jumping into a commercial thing for another beard company. But hey, that's what we're all about, right? And if I can fill up this podcast between each little break with a different beard company, beard oil company, or a beard care company that is representative of one of our brothers out there, I'm going to do that. So hopefully here in the next, maybe by next week, we'll have an additional podcast commercial on there for us for Mudcat. So we're working on it. Real quick, this is not sponsored, but I have to mention this thing because I saw this thing online and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I have another version of that, but I wanted to try this one out and I absolutely love it. So people that are watching live may have been seeing me sipping out of this thing, but I have to mention it because it's just awesomeness. So there's a variety of different like double wall cooler things for your drink that are out there and that are designed to hold your can, your beer can, your whatever can, different sizes of different cans, bottles and whatnot. And they have the lid that unscrews. You stick the thing in there and you screw the lid back on. And they hold different sizes all the way up to, sometimes 16 ounce different things. Well, I came across this one. I'd already ordered. I've had this other company's item for probably almost 2 years now. And I thought that was the coolest thing under the sun. But, people are always asking, well, why do you need a thermos? Why do you need something to hold your beer in or your drink in? Because I'm not planning on holding it that long. Well, that's not always possible, right? Especially on a night like tonight when I'm doing the podcast and I have a drink with you and you can't, you want to make sure that it's not just going to get to room temp real quick. Plus, if you're holding on to it, the temperature goes through your hands, right? You're heating up that cold drink. So in an effort to not always be drinking super, super fast and to keep things cold, they've come out with these aluminum walled cooler things. Well, this company was the first one that I'd seen like this. It's called Frost Buddy. And no, not sponsored by any means. Maybe he should sponsor me because I'm going to do this. But this was a really cool thing that I saw. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about this is that just like every other one out there, it has the little removable lid, the unscrew. But he has an insert in his device that comes in and out, and it fits any. I can't say any. He advertises it with any, and he goes through about a litany of about 15 different size drinks and different bottles and whatnot that it fits. I did find a odd shaped bottle that it didn't fit, but it fits almost everything. And what's really cool is, like I said, it has this little metal insert thing, but without the insert, you can put your 16 ounce, your big bottles in it. But then it has this little insert thing, and we'll get the ASMR here. Oh, snug tight. And then you can even use your 12 ounce cans or your little thin, White Claw or Truly cans fit in there as well. But the other cool thing that I found is, this is funny, the old snubby bottles of like the Coors Banquet beer. They actually fit in here, and we'll see. There it is. And then the lid fits on, just like so, and you screw it on, and now you're not warming up your drink on one of those little snubby bottles. So it's kind of cool. Fits everything. Really good price. Frost Buddy. Go find one. Okay, now that I've done a free commercial for him, for the dozens of viewers that are watching, let's get into our calendar of events, guys, and see what we got on tap here coming up. All right. So the first thing I've got is this weekend, this Sunday. If you're anywhere near Chicago, come hang out with the BVC boys, Beardville in Chicago, for their 8th annual Farewell to Summer barbecue picnic. They're going to be there all day, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Harts Road, Bunker Hill Pavilion. It's in Niles, Illinois. You got food, music, face painting, games, and more. Donations are also going to be collected for their homeless outreach. September 4th, this Sunday, in Niles, Illinois. Then this weekend, upcoming, which is a weekend from now, so a week from now, yes, technically, September 9th through the 11th. September 9th through the 11th. There's 2 different events going on in different parts of the country here in the U.S., the first of which is Battle of the Beards. Battle of the Beards, September 9th through the 11th. It's in Evansville, Indiana, hosted by the Southern Indiana Villains. It's a beard competition, all sorts of good stuff there. Meet and greet is on the 9th. Beard competition at the VFW Post 1114 on the 10th. 10 judged categories. 10 different judged categories. I've been to every one of these things, and they are awesome. Battle of the Beards, September 9th through 11th. Next up, the same weekend, if you're anywhere near the area of the country in the U.S. that's called the Four Corners. Do your geographical math. I don't want to do it for you. You got to learn something here tonight. I'll give you a hint because it's in Cortez, Colorado, so that's one of the states. But it's in Cortez, Colorado for the Four Corners Meet. It's an outdoor camping adventure weekend for brothers only. Guys that have been to this thing rave about it, say it's one of their favorite meets, if not their favorite meet ever. September 9th through the 11th. There's no agenda. It's just brothers hanging out for a weekend. Four Corners Meet, September 9th through the 11th. Then September 17th. September 17th is Villains for Appalachia. Villains for Appalachia, hosted by BV Kentucky. Bearded Villains Kentucky. They're raising money for flood relief for Villains for Appalachia, September 17th. Any questions about that, hit up the Bearded Villains Kentucky boys. Then September 23rd to the 25th. September 23rd to the 25th in Baltimore, Maryland, is the East Coast Meet, the ECM. Baltimore, Maryland is your place. They're hosted by the SOMD boys and the Chesapeake Bay Bearded Villains. SOMD and Chesapeake Bay. It's at the power plant. The main event is, anyway. September 23rd to the 25th, the weekend that is the East Coast Meet. Always a great time in Baltimore. In Baltimore, September 23rd to the 25th. That same weekend, if you're out in California here in the States, September 24th, the California Villains Meetup. The California Villains Meetup, it's hosted by the SenCal boys, the SenCal BV chapter. It's in Rincon Beach Park. It's BYO everything. Bring your own everything. Drinks, food, whatever, music, whatever you want to do. Beach toys, because it's on the beach. So bring whatever you want. That's September 24th, the California Villains Meetup, hosted by SenCal BV. Then the next up is September 30th, the BV Beard Comp for Elevate the Spectrum. BV Beard Comp for Elevate the Spectrum, hosted by the Bearded Villains New Mexico chapter. It's at Juno, 1501 First Street Northwest in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Registrations from 6 to 7. They get the Beard Comp from 7 to 9:30. Registration for BV Beard Comp for Elevate the Spectrum, hosted by BV New Mexico, September 30th. Then October we get into. October 8th. We got a bunch of stuff in October. A bunch of stuff. So get this thing going here. October 8th, Mississippi BV hosts their 6th anniversary. The whole state celebrates an anniversary. Traveling Gnome Beard Competition in Tupelo, Mississippi at Steele's Dive Bar. 6 years. Traveling Gnome Beard Competition, Tupelo, Mississippi at Steele's Dive Bar. Beard competition starts at 4. 7 p.m. starts the after party. Again, that's at Steele's Dive Bar in Tupelo, Mississippi, October 8th. Then October 15th, the weekend of October 14th and 15th. They've got a bunch of stuff. The Florida Summit is up first and foremost in Orlando, Florida. Orlando, Florida is your host for the meet and greet on the 14th, the beard competition on the 15th. The Florida Summit, come one, come all, October 14th and 15th. That same weekend, we get into our Halloween stuff. That same weekend, October 15th, All Villains Eve. All Villains Eve, hosted by the Phoenix Villains in Mesa, Arizona. This one, I'm telling you, this one is unique. This is the one where they have wrestling event, costume contest, vendors, raffle, more. all sorts of stuff going on. It benefits the Phoenix Children's Hospital in Mesa, Arizona for the Phoenix Villains All Villains Eve, October 15th. On the other side of the country here in the States, same weekend, October 15th, is the Battleborn Killer Beard Competition. Battleborn Killer Beard Competition, hosted by Bearded Villains Pennsylvania East, BVPA East. It's at the Wooden Match, 61 West Lehigh Street in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's a beard competition and costume contest, again, October 15th for the Battleborn Killer Beard Competition. Then we get into the final weekend of the month, October 22nd. Well, technically, I don't think it's the final weekend because you have Halloween, but final one that I have stuff for. October 22nd, Villains Night. Villains Night, hosted by BV Utah at Handlebar, 751 North, 300 West in Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City. They got a beard competition, costume contest. They're raising funds for Family Place Utah. Family Place Utah. That's Villains Night, hosted by BV Utah, October 22nd. And then finally, my chapter, Northern Indiana, is your host here in Northern Indiana, in Hobart, Indiana, October 22nd, for the return of Ezra Crowe. The return of Ezra Crowe, Northern Indiana. It's at the Hobart Moose Lodge, 143 South Hobart Street, or South Hobart Road in Hobart, Indiana. It's a beard competition, costume contest. We have all sorts of surprises set up for you that we're not even going to announce. If you want to come to an awesome event, it's going to be a blast. Just to top it off, it's going to be a beard competition, costume contest, but so much more. The return of Ezra Crowe, October 22nd. We got peeps coming from all over for that one. Return of Ezra Crowe, October 22nd. Come one, come all. That is the calendar of events that I have so far. If I missed your event, please reach out to me and let me know about it. I want to get it on the calendar to share it with everybody. All right, guys. Hey, we've been here for a bit, right? We've been here for over an hour now. It is time to bid you farewell. So thank you guys so much. That's going to wrap up episode 150 of this show. 150. Next week, I'll be here for episode 151. I want to challenge you guys, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. The most important words I say every week in this microphone, guys. Please remember them well. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So guys, for now, have a great rest of your Thursday night. Enjoy this weekend ahead. I will see you next week, next Thursday night, back here for episode 151. Until then, guys, take care. Stay safe.
From the start to the finish, go